Well, looky there. It looks like we are doing our thing, getting a little bit of video buffering issues here, but that's just all part of the transition. Hello, everyone. I do believe it is time for the Saturday anime stream. Time for us to talk anime. Hey, JJ. Good to see you. Sales always dangerous, especially this time of year. And there's all sorts of stuff to buy and all sorts of stuff to consume and all sorts of stuff to try. Hey Jay, good to see you. It is Saturday. It's been a fun week. I've had plenty going on this past week. We're finishing out the end of the cohort at work, the end of the class. So the students will still be around a little bit, but our responsibilities are done, so we can just move on with our lives. So I have the next 2 weeks off, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Just relaxing more than a little bit, and spending time with anime. Frankly, I started watching Made in Abyss this week. Finally catching up on that. Loving that show. They're really fun. Yeah, I was doing some feedback video stuff on my end, and I've since turned that off. So hopefully that will update a little bit. But yeah, so that's a good thing. Having some time off, can't complain. You may have noticed a little bit of video quality update. I hope a little bit. Got some updates to the camera, so now exporting much faster. Hopefully that will be higher quality. Interesting. So I'm trying to update. See, it's weird. I updated the CSS for all this, but it's still giving me issues. That's weird. Chat is well behind. We watching Aramanga Sensei. Cool, Jay. You're off work, also solid company. Cool. See, I got 2 weeks to look forward to watching anime and then catching up on stuff. I've got some anime videos coming up. Oh, also, I was rendering a video, so I can. That's actually. That's probably part of the problem too. So that render is done. So that should be fine. But yeah, got some fun videos going on. This is actually the same camera I had all the time. I just did not realize that OBS had different settings for kind of output than input. So I'd updated all of the settings to go out to YouTube, and didn't realize that there were other settings for the camera itself. And went in there and set those and raised the quality of those, and then all of a sudden now I have nice high quality video. So that's nice to know that is actually an option. So for tonight, we're going to cover the anime news as usual. I also have a whole bunch of prediction questions that I'll be going through tonight, doing some anime predictions for 2020. As I mentioned, that will go well, certainly. And then I'm hoping that this time next year, we'll review those predictions and see how many I got right or wrong. Yes, I've got new reviews coming, a special review coming. You may have noticed that this year, Christmas Eve is the same day that I normally post videos. So I have a very special anime video going out on Christmas Eve this year. That should be fun. And then some other stuff. I don't have. Are they up yet? Do you know? Do you know? You don't. Oh, that's right. I will let you know right now. So coming in next year, I have a series of videos on Neon Genesis Evangelion. That's right. I'll be posting a bunch of different ideas. None of them will be like a review per se, but I have a bunch of different takes on Evangelion TV, the TV series only so far. So those will be coming in January of next year. Um, so yeah, that'll be a thing. It's a good idea, Jay. Have a limit on holiday sales. I have a limit in general on holiday spending. So only buy like one thing per person, if that. And that kind of helps with those things. So we'll see how that goes. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that, and I've got a bunch of other things I want to review in the new year. I've been looking actually at the channel and thinking about how I want to expand. So I want to expand content. So I'll do a few videos that are not like exactly anime related, but are still sort of sci-fi fantasy kind of stuff. I want to branch out to some other things, just an occasional spice to the anime stuff that I think would still be fun for the average anime fan. So I'll be doing those on occasion, and looking to do maybe some more long form stuff on the YouTube blog. I'm sorry, on the blog, complemented by videos on the channel. So the idea would be if I'm talking about something like Evo would be a good example where, and I'm not doing this specifically. Well, so Gundam might be a better example where I would do a short video explaining a basic concept, or getting across some basic idea, and then the description would link to a blog post that kind of expands on that, goes into some details, throws a lot of examples, etc. So I think I might be able to make use of both of those in there. Origins of genres. That's a neat idea. I'm actually going to write that down. Origins of genres. Because I feel like the channel is not really geek archaeology yet. And I want to really get there. I want to expand beyond anime to more geek. And I want to expand beyond just reviews into more archaeology, more stuff like the origins of genres. It's a really good idea, Jay. Thank you. Talk about that stuff. Hey, YK2K. Good to see you. So I think I'll do that, and we'll continue doing the Saturday streams. Oh, and by the way, fun little thing for tonight, besides the news and predictions special, I want to do, after this, I want to stream Idol Project. So this is an anime that I like to call Peak 90s. It is an anime about idols from the mid-90s. I think it's mid-90s. Really bizarre OVA. If you like goofy, ridiculous OVAs, that is exactly what that is. So I'm going to try streaming that on SciTube later tonight. I'll post a link in the Discord once we get closer to that. So if any of you want to stick around and watch a really goofy anime, which I mentioned last week, I will stream that on SciTube if you're interested. I did end up getting the DVDs this past week, so I pulled them in and posted them up, and hopefully that will be fun for you all to catch a 90s anime OVA. Again, if you're interested, if you'd like, and we'll see where that goes. So that is the plan there. But yeah, that would be kind of fun. But let's see here. So, y'all hear that? Hold on. There we go. Okay. That was weird. Sorry about that. Okay. This is going to be kind of a weird news time because I've got a different setup than usual. Because that's just how things are. But that's all right. let's get into it. Oh, I need to pull up. That's right. Open that up. Open that up. Open that up. Oops, no. Open that up. And open that up. Okay, I now have the actual text of these, so I can actually do the thing, which is kind of nice. Yeah, the manga camera. Hey, imagine that. Welcome to the anime and manga news for the week ending December 21st, 2019. It's nearly the end of the year, so things are a little bit wonky, and things will be a little bit wonky for this time as well, but that's okay. Starting with news from Kyoto Animation. The president has announced that Kyoto Animation will be closing the account that they opened for donations, and that closing will happen December 27th. This is an account that they created so that folks could donate after the tragic fire at Kyoto Animation earlier this year. It has already reached 2.9 billion yen. It's about $26.8 million in funds. And Hideaki Hata, the CEO of Kyoto Animation, has confirmed that the vast majority of the donations came in the form of small donations from fans. So basically he's saying that it's time to turn that off, end that, take in the last of their donations, and then move on. So best of luck to everyone at Kyoto Animation as they continue to recover from that tragedy. Moving on to happier news. The newest Pokemon anime film is coming. Toho revealed earlier this week that they will be launching a new Pokemon film, and by new, I mean actually new. This will have a new story, but although it's going to be about Mewtwo, as you can tell, it will be called Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution, and it is planned to open in Japan on July 10th. This will be the first all-new Pokemon anime film in 2 years, since the most recent films were Detective Pikachu, live action, and the Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution 3D CG film. So, see where that goes, but congratulations, Pokemon fan, on new Pokemon. Gosh, they're still making Pokemon. Imagine that. Interesting news from multiple different places here. The Magia record Puella Magi Monoka Magica side story TV anime series that is coming up in January is going to be streamed on Funimation, Crunchyroll, and HIDIVE. Funimation will begin streaming on January 4th in the US, Canada, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Crunchyroll will start January 11th, so 1 week later, with new episodes premiering a few days after they air in Japan. So presumably, Funimation gets it before Japan airs it, and then it airs in Japan, and then Crunchyroll gets it after that, and HIDIVE will begin streaming the same time as Crunchyroll. So it looks like they've all managed some deal to air this Puella Magi Monoka Magica side story anime at different points. So that is pretty cool. Funimation and Aniplex have promotional videos for the series up. And so that's going to be interesting. It'll premiere January 4th at midnight, effectively January 5th at midnight, beginning of the day. And then it'll air again later on MBS. So more Madoka Magica coming, although again technically a side story. But yeah, kind of interesting that we're getting that cross-work between all of those studios. And all those streaming services. Speaking of, Crunchyroll and Viz have announced that they're going to be working together, and a bunch of Viz Media's titles will be available streaming on Crunchyroll. 18 different titles, including Excel World, Death Note, several Naruto movies, Vampire Knight, Sailor Moon R the movie, the first season of One Punch Man, Hikaru no Go, and Inuyasha, and 4 Inuyasha movies. Although those latter few will come... actually, no, they're already there. So that's kind of interesting. Most of them are United States and Canada only, but One Punch Man, for example, will be available in Latin America, and that's always because of just different, licensing in different countries. There are other licensing deals, undoubtedly, in other parts of the world. So there's some cohesion going on, some folks moving around in different places. Everyone's in love, it seems. Speaking of love, the second season of Kaguya-sama Love is War has been slated for April of 2020. So not this coming up season, but whoa, what the hell? 1 second. Hold on. Wait a minute. That's not right. That's not right at all. There we go. What? That's weird. Why are we getting a different... Why is the... That's not right. What? No, that's not what I wanted. Stand by. There we go. Technical difficulties. It happens. Anyway, and that's the wrong image. Wow, okay. Let's fix that. Hold on. We'll get there. This is not enough to destroy everything, although it's close. All right. Getting back to the news. Second season of Kaguya-sama, Love is War, is coming in April 2020. And for all that, that's the entire news story. It's just that we get the second season coming, not this season, but the next season. So, anyway, let's move along to hopefully something that works a little bit better. Tokyo's Anime Award Festival is coming up, and the official website has announced the Meritorious Service Award honorees. And we have the recipients now. Shoji Sato, producer on Conan Boy in the Future, or Future Boy Conan, Miyazaki's big TV series. Junzo Nakajima, producer of Heidi Girl of the Alps. Takeshi Shudo, scriptwriter for Pokemon Mewtwo Returns and others. Kazuko Nakamura, animator on The White Snake, Legend of the White Serpent. Hisao Shirai, director of photography on My Neighbor Totoro and others. Akiko Koyama, color designer on Little Women. Michio Mamiya, composer on Gauche the Cellist. Masako Ikeda, voice actress who is Maytel in Galaxy Express 39, among others. And Seiki Inc., who provided photography and filming equipment for the anime industry. The awards festival will be held March 13th to March 16th of next year in Ikebukuro in Tokyo. And there will be an exhibition of the works of the 10 recipients. So, very cool. See if this works. Hey! Also news, we have a new OVA in the Katana Maidens universe. You may have remembered this from earlier. This came out, what was that? Earlier, January 2018 was when the first Katana Maidens came out. It's about young women who wear school uniforms and wield swords. So basically, schoolgirls wielding katanas is the basic idea. Seemed a very odd premise, 24-episode TV anime series. It's actually based on a smartphone game. So that makes a lot more sense that you're playing these, got a bunch of girls, they've all got not cell phones, katanas, swords, and they're slashing at things with those swords. So new OVA coming in that's pretty cool. Always fun to get more anime, and of course that's one of those things that I think will fit that a little better. I think OVA is a little easier to handle for an odd premise like that compared to a TV anime series. So we'll see where that goes. Anyway, that's the news for this week. Hope that has been helpful for you. We'll be back next week with more news. Thank you all very much. See you then. So, turns out, problem happens is that, and what happens there is, when I updated the camera settings, every single scene I have in OBS has to reset the camera. I have to go in and reset the camera on every single scene. And so, because it's now outputting a much larger picture. And that is what happens as a result of that, is that I forget to reset sometimes. And that, oops, such is life. Okay. So that was the news. Not much this week, I'll be honest. Nothing too crazy. There was news on the Rurouni Kenshin live action movies, which I thought was awesome, but I didn't really make it wasn't really newsworthy. They'll be adapting the rest of the Inishi arc in the next film, and then the final film will be the Rurouni Kenshin Trust and Betrayal OVA storyline. They're gonna do that in live action, and I'm like, Kenshin, that's Kenshin right there. Oh gosh, I cannot wait to see how they adapt that into live action. I mean, Trust and Betrayal is basically a a serious adult take on that franchise anyway. So should be pretty cool. Should be pretty cool. 1 second while I check something else out. Interesting. That's actually what's going on. That's not. Huh. Trying to find out why the stream thing, the YouTube channel thing, is not up to date, but it does seem to be like that should be right. It's like it's. Oh, I think I'm understanding now. Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on. I have an idea. No, I don't think that makes sense. So if I do here. Oh, now I can do it. There we go. So that's there. No, that's everything. Huh. It doesn't make any. Why is it not showing? Hold on. Let me try something. Okay. That's weird. Then if I edit transform, 300. $350. Close. 70. Nope. 360. Aha. Let's transition that. Okay. That seems happier. We'll see if that works. So I think I've got the chat lower third adjusted. May not be right, but at least it seems to be aligned properly now. Weird. Not sure what the idea there is. Hey, Seth. Good to see you. That's weird. Huh. Getting things faster in the other chat than on YouTube. Cool. Transform and roll out. So yeah, you know what? Let's do some predictions. I'm just in the mood for that. So I've got my predictions pulled from the YouTube video that folks posted. Thank you very much for that. So I'm going to go down this list of predictions, or of questions specifically, and I'm going to make my predictions. And I'm going to go randomly here. I've just pulled all the comments, and I'm going to look down and pick something pseudo-randomly. It's never really random, right? And I'm going to try to answer that. So let's start with, these are predictions for 2020. Could 2020 be the year Despera gets finished? This is from Tom Palmai. Will we ever see another collaboration with Abe and Konaka, or is the anime industry too far gone? So this is referring to a project between Yoshitoshi Abe and Chiaki J. Konaka, who both worked on Serial Experiments Lain and together, and Haibane Renmei and Nia Under 7. And they've been working to get Despera done as a new work, but it just hasn't actually happened. I'm going to predict that we will hear more about Despera in 2020. It's not going to come out at that point, but we will hear a status update, and we will learn that there has been some significant update to Despera. So it's going to be more than just, hey, we're still working on it. There'll be like a visual or a piece of artwork or something will surface about a Despera anime, and we will find out that that is actually happening. So here, that's what I hope. That is what I hope. So that is Tom Pamai. Thank you for the question. Let's try this one. Game Escape asks, what are your thoughts on any big anime video game crossovers coming up next year? Ooh. Now, a lot of the anime video game crossovers are for Japanese video games I've never heard of. But let's imagine. You know what? Okay. Here's what I'm going to predict. I know it's out there, but I predict that Sony will announce Horizon Zero Dawn 2 for the PlayStation 5, and that there will be an anime version of that. Think about Horizon Zero Dawn if you haven't seen it. If not, go. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Go just look for some YouTube stuff, for some screenshots, and that would make a great anime. I think post-apocalyptic, but with huge robots. It kind of made for anime, and so I think that's what we're gonna get: a Horizon Zero Dawn anime. I'm gonna go with OVA on that. That's my prediction for 2020. And Pokemon, let's be honest. Let's go. Akko12 asked several questions. Do you think Japan will eventually be tired of the isekai genre? I'm going to predict that 2020 will give us the first sort of postmodern take on isekai. We're going to get the Haruhi Suzumiya of isekai in 2020. Some series that really, takes that genre and is really goofy with it. Really does something that is not only a twist, is not only comedic. We've had a few of those, but I think it'll be the one that really kind of makes people recognize that the genre is ready for a refresh and ready for a shift. So we'll see where that goes. But I think that's what's going to happen. In 2020, we will get the rethink on that. JBiz thinks Fallout or The Last of Us anime. I can see a Fallout anime easier than a Last of Us anime, I will admit. But that's what I think there. All right. Moving, actually a question from Jay from the YouTube video. Any chance of Otaku no Cooking in 2020? Yes. Moving on, another question from Akko12, actually. Will there be a show popular enough to reignite the mecha flame, so to speak? I'm going to go strange on this one. I think there's going to be a super popular super robot mecha in 2020. It won't be by Studio Trigger. It'll come out of left field, but there's going to be some super robot series that really captures everyone's attention and is very super robot, a Gurren Lagann scale super robot show. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm gonna predict that. Moving on, Olimar has a question. Any thoughts on the upcoming Gundam movies Hathaway's Flash? Hot take. I think Hathaway's Flash is going to come out, and people are going to be shocked. People are going to make YouTube videos and reviews about Hathaway's Flash and say that it is not what they expected out of Gundam, and it's going to cause some controversy. I think Hathaway's Flash is going to, there's going to be a minor version of trending topics on Hathaway's Flash, and I think folks are going to really talk about Hathaway's Flash being a shocker for them. I'm gonna go there. That's what I hope. Another question from JBiz. What genre do you think will be more focused upon in the upcoming year in anime? Parentheses, I think romance will play a big role. End parentheses. I think sci-fi is going to make a comeback in the next year. I think we're going to see more sci-fi series. We'll see isekai in sci-fi worlds. We'll see more like space opera style sci-fi, and we'll see more sort of modern day with sci-fi elements. So a character who gets some a robot companion in the modern world or whatever. And maybe a few like near future sci-fi things. Eden of the East kind of stuff. Although I think Eden of the East was technically modern day, but with some advanced tech. But something where it's 5 to 10 years into the future. I think we'll get that. Sci-fi, I think, is going to be the genre for 2020. I'm just gonna go for that. Another question from Akko. Actually, Akko12 asked the same question. What genres you think will make a comeback? Already answered that one. So I'm gonna go with another question from Game Escape. What anime, manga, otaku products will be most collectible in 2020? Well, I think the news has already given us a hint on that one. The news for this week. I think there's going to be a big upswing in Madoka Magica merchandise, and there's going to be at least one like super expensive figurine that folks just go nuts for. I think even beyond a figurine, there's going to be something Madoka Magica related that really is unique and gets folks going crazy. Like a Cube PC or something just really, really out there. I think will be pretty crazy. I think also there's going to be something Gundam related. So, serious prediction: there's going to be at least one Gundam anniversary wrap up piece of merchandise that's going to just blow everyone away and just really be really cool. Probably a model kit, something like that. All right. Another question from JBiz. Do you think we will get more unique anime in 2020, or do you think it will be like the status quo with isekai? I've already said it. There's going to be a sci-fi resurgence, but I do think we're not going to see a huge change. I think 2020 will be. I mean, it's not exciting, but I think the reality is it's rare to get any year that changes things up a lot. And I think 2020 will be the year of it'll be a year of transition. It'll be the year when isekai starts to dip. It'll be when the science fiction starts to come back in a little bit, or whatever that's going to be. And I think 2021, 2022 will be when things really start to shift around. We'll see where that goes. But that's my prediction there. Finally, question from YK2K. How big of a shift do you think all the current and upcoming streaming services, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon, HBO Max, etc., will change how people consume their TV shows, anime, and film? And how do you think it will affect the traditional way we watch TV and movies? I think that trend is going to only accelerate in 2020. And I think we're going to see, especially with Disney Plus, we're going to see cord cutting become effectively mainstream. Cord cutting has become more and more popular, but the average person still doesn't cord cut. And I think 2020 will be the year when we see not everybody will do it, but we'll see a dramatic shift in the numbers. And suddenly, the average person will consider that will not just consider that an option. They will actually cut the cord and just watch Disney Plus or whatever. And there's a lot of there's so many ways of doing that now that I think that'll just be the way people do it, right? It kind of makes sense. So yeah, I think we're just we're gonna see that happening. Also, I'm gonna predict a significant shakeup in the anime streaming market. I think one of the big streaming services is going to go out of business, or two of them are going to merge. Something is going to happen along those lines in 2020. Or we'll get a new one. We'll get a new anime streaming service in 2020. But probably more like a merger or something going out of business, because I think there are quite a few now, and we're seeing those signs of changing and merging around. So those are the questions um, from the YouTube video. I'm going to throw out a couple of other random predictions. Not random predictions at all. I'm going to throw out a few other predictions for 2020. I think 2020 will bring another Tenchi Muyo anime. At least announced something new in the Tenchi franchise. Because I think that franchise is poised for a comeback. Because it combines so many different aspects of things. There's an isekai aspect to it in some cases. In fact, it did have an isekai series quite very much in War on Geminar. So I think we'll get more of that. I also think that 2020 will be the year of Fate fatigue. I think there'll be kind of a backlash against the Fate franchise, and folks will see Fate as this sort of giant thing. I know there are some folks who are kind of over Fate already, but I think we'll see a broader reaction to Fate and feeling like it's gotten a little bit long in the tooth in 2020. I'm just going to admit that. Let's see here. I also predict that there will be major news coming out of Studio Ghibli. Something's going to happen with Studio Ghibli this coming up year. I'm not going to say what, but I think we're going to see something happen. Those are my predictions for 2020. I'll try to come back 1 year from now and see how well I did. I'm sure they'll all be wrong. Humans are terrible at predicting the future. But, it's fun. Yeah, I think you're right, Jay. I think one studio will fall, but we're going to see some more anime studios in the coming up year. One of the difficulties with that always is that new studios are very hard to track because you'll get a studio that's been doing background work or in between work for years and years, and then they'll finally come up with something original. So they've been around for a while, but now suddenly they're a new anime studio. So I think one or two of those studios will probably show up, and then there may very well be a studio that kind of says, "Nope, we're out of it." Fortunately, we have enough work out there. It's one thing I did not predict during that is whether the anime industry would go through a significant amount of change. Anime studios. Major anime studios going out of business, things like that. There's a belief that we're in a bubble right now with anime, and I think that might be true. There's a lot of anime being made, but I don't think it's too bad at this point. I think the anime industry is able to adjust a little better these days. So I think we're in a pretty good spot, and there are enough places for anime to get funding. They don't need to worry about that as much. Now, obviously, that could change overnight if there's a huge change in China, for example, because that's where a lot of the overseas funding is coming from now. And obviously, if a war breaks out, that changes everything. But you can't complain, or you can't predict that. I suppose you could, but I can't. Yeah, crowdfunded studios might start to grow. I would predict that on more of a 2020 to 2024 kind of a prediction special. There's just there are almost certainly going to be more crowdfunded stuff. But we'll see that actually going. Yeah, I'd love to see more crowdfunded anime that's significant in scope. Well, significant that sounds bad, but it's larger in scope. Right, where it's not just a 5-minute, 10-minute thing. The problem is it's hard to crowdfund something that's going to cost millions of dollars, as we've said before. So that was fun. It is fun going through predictions and playing around with that, and seeing what folks think, or seeing what folks ask rather. Apologies, I'm having trouble speaking my words tonight for some reason. I think crowdfunding is a really good a good thing for anime. Yeah, I'm with you, Seth. The anime industry was going to collapse, 10 years ago. It's been a bubble for a very long time. So I'm not totally convinced. And the numbers overall have been, growing, but not like meteorically. So who knows? Who knows? Certainly not me. But yeah, I think crowdfunding is very healthy. The industry really benefits from different crowd funding sources. It's just I'd love to see crowdfunding actually, and this is going opposite what I said before. I'd love to see crowdfunding fund more small anime projects, more experimental stuff, Angel's Egg kind of stuff. Not that long, obviously, for crowdfunding, but you know, more weird anime. I'd love to see just we're gonna crowdfund a car racing 10-minute short, NASCAR anime. I don't know. Why was it supposed to crash? Oh, any number of reasons. Too much anime being made. The number of anime airing on television, and the number of otaku out there to buy it. The size of the market versus the amount of supply. It's just one of those things where anime grew dramatically during the 90s and then had to pull back in the 2000s. Then during the 2010s, it started to grow again. They're like, oh, it can't grow again. Growing's bad. Growing's a bad sign. It's like, no. Growing is just, it comes and goes in waves. Yeah. Well, and anime has survived on a very small otaku demographic in Japan for a long time now. So as long as that remains, as long as there's still that hardcore market, then I think we're okay. Now, if that trend changes and we don't get those, those 20 to 40-year-old males and females now, just males historically, who, buy 3 copies of every anime that they love, that could be a problem if there's a social shift. Which is one of the reasons why folks are aiming more towards, and studios are trying to do more international stuff, trying to appeal to a broader market, so that will, so that, they can hedge their bets, and so they can make anime that will appeal to that larger audience, even if the domestic audience doesn't really like it too much. Oh, that is how it works, Akko. The average anime sells very few copies in Japan, and yet physical sales are still a major part of the industry, according to folks. In fact, let me see if I can pull up. I have numbers which I need to update. It's been, 7 years now. Documents. Nope. Documents. Panels. My anime is made. You pull up this slide and I'll see if I can't show it to you. I'm pulling a large presentation off of my network drive. So it's taking a few moments to pull everything. Let's see here. Budgets. There we go. So if I switch over here to local desktop, there we go. So these are some numbers. Again, it's a little, some time ago. But in 2013, they only sold 50,000 copies of Attack on Titan. 30,000 copies of Free Iwatobi Swim Club. Kill la Kill, 12,000 copies. Love Live, 30,000 copies the year of its release. And the average anime from 2013 sold 5,500 copies. Yep. Yep. So that's an average, not of that list, but all the anime of that season, that year rather. So yeah, it's pretty nuts. Yeah. And according to folks in the industry, and perhaps this is changing, but physical media sales are still a major signifier of success in Japan. Um, Merchandise is kind of growing. Streaming is still tiny, but who knows? See more anime movies released internationally, especially in the UK. It was legit an amazing thing. A Dragon Ball film in the cinema. Yeah, and they're working on that. There's more and more stuff. Weathering with You is coming to America in January, North America in January. Trying to go around. The problem is that historically, anime films have done abysmally at the box office. So until the G Kids model of releasing it, in one theater for one night, they would try, they would do it because folks would come out and say, why don't they just release anime in the box office? And it's like, well, here's why. And releasing a film theatrically is extraordinarily expensive. It's stupid expensive. That's the drawback. It's why it doesn't happen that often. But fortunately, we are seeing it more and more. You're absolutely right. I'd love to see more of those. And we're getting a pretty good clip now. Certainly not every anime film comes over here, but we get, I would say half a dozen anime films a year now get some kind of at least North American release, and then that's beginning to trickle out to other parts of the world. Did Akira flop in the U.S.? I don't believe Akira was released theatrically in the U.S. It was released. It went to like art house cinemas, but I don't think there was a general release. And I do not know how it did. Otherwise, that's a good question. Streaming is still 5% of the earnings of an average anime series. So the money that comes in from an anime series back to the original Japanese license holders, of all that, streaming accounts for only 5% of that. So streaming is still very small. In fact, I might have. Let me pull this up if I can. Be the exact same thing. Anime industry reports. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, look at that. Hold on. Stand by. There we are. These are 2018 Japanese market trends. So the percentage of money spent on various things. Oops, why is that not? I want to zoom. There we are. So 2017. Well, that isn't it. Sorry, 1 second. Maybe that is it. Music merchandising. Yeah. So internet distribution is this thing here. This 54.0. Yeah, it's this tiny little strip down here in the orange, just below this green, which is merchandising. And then the big pink up here, or sort of peach, is overseas, pachinko, live entertainment. Yeah, so TV, movie, DVDs, this is purple, internet, so forth and so on. So, I mean, relative to disc sales, it's pretty good, but versus merchandising and everything else, that's the thing. So domestically, they look very closely at disc sales because that's kind of where a lot of money comes in. That's their closest indicator of success is that big sales of DVDs and Blu-rays in Japan means that there are a lot of folks in Japan actually buying the thing itself, and that's usually a good predictor of like merchandise sales and so forth and so on. So, yep. Yeah, a new block, anime block in America would be nice. Toonami's really the only one we've got. Where would it go though? We don't really have any other animation channels, I think, in America. Um, hmm, Interesting question. I'd like to see Sci-Fi Channel bring back its anime block. I think that would make a lot of sense because there's certainly plenty of sci-fi anime, and sci-fi is pretty broad. They've always been a sci-fi, fantasy, and horror channel, so you can broaden that out. Disney, yeah, Disney could. I mean, Disney has freaking Doraemon. Why not? Disney does not seem averse to that. Although they're certainly not usually not a very challenging property for most things. Anime Network, yeah, yeah. Poor Anime Network. All right, that is that. Trying to think if there's anything else to cover too directly. I don't think so. So I am going to see here. For YK2K. What's the difference? Something like a Ghibli film compared to when the original Lion King came out. Is it because Disney had made money to market their film? Like a Ghibli film. Not understanding your question, YK2K. Um, Jacob asks, is TV likely the best way to expand anime's reach in the US? I feel like things like Netflix's participation in the funding for Carol and Tuesday suggest that streaming might be a better route. Yeah, I think TV is problematic. TV is becoming less and less relevant. And TV is moving into streaming anyway. So you don't need that. Um, uh, so I agree. I think while an anime block on TV is good for publicity, just in terms of that becomes a headline more than Netflix releases anime series. But I think in terms of people actually watching more anime, not so much. Although TV has the advantage that folks tend to stumble across stuff more. Streaming tends to be much more focused. So I think TV would have the advantage that you would get, that 14-year-old who stumbles across Naruto, on Toonami or what have you. Does Toonami show Naruto? I'm not sure. That kind of idea. Yeah, exactly, Saf. That you do get those weird introductions. Asking why Ghibli films aren't as popular as Disney. Yeah, marketing budget. Marketing budget is the entire thing. Disney spends hundreds of millions of dollars marketing its films, and it has brand recognition. People know what a Disney film is, so they know to go to it. Um, you know, Funimation cannot do that. They do not have those kinds of coffers, nor do they have the brand recognition. Um, yeah, it's an interesting idea, Seth. Do a weird block, kind of like Noitana in Japan, where it's an anime block for non-traditional anime. I think that'd be a neat idea. That's kind of what Tech TV did back in the day, where they showed Lane and a bunch of other weird anime. That was pretty cool. Could they re-release some older anime into Blu-ray, like for an example, Tokyo Godfathers? Oh, sure. That happens. We get those. Although we're seeing more streaming releases, so the old anime gets a license for streaming. But we'll see. Um, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, and that's the other problem is that Disney films are made for an American audience, so they're much easier to sell. Compared to look at Made in Abyss. Like I'm watching Made in Abyss right now. It's about 12-year-olds in this wild running around in this wild world. That's a hard sell to begin with. A world that allows 12-year-olds to risk life and limb. Um, the main 12-year-old girl is often punished by being tied up naked. Um, and then she comes across a boy that she studies very in great detail, much to his embarrassment. And then that boy has these weird, cyborg elements to him. And it's just not a traditional kind of American sort of story. Um, yeah, yeah, Liquid TV, exactly, JJ. There's some options. What I would love to see channels do, and it's something that Sci-Fi Channel could certainly do, is say, hey, we're gonna show anime, Saturday nights, every Saturday night for the next 3 months. Then it's gonna be over. We're just gonna do an anime festival, kind of like their festivals of anime back in the day, and just say let's go. Let's do some interesting things and throw it out there, but also realize that this is not going to be part of our everyday lineup. That we can't necessarily commit to showing anime for years and years and years, but let's do an odd little block. Let's do some fun stuff. It'll be fun. Yeah, cultural bias, and not just cultural bias, just culture, right? People in one culture find their own culture more comfortable than other cultures. That's why cultures exist because they are, you know, they become distinct. They become things that different people, um, you know, appeal to, appeals to different people. So I think that's a pretty important thing. Um, and it's why Tech TV's anime block failed in that sense because they brought over all these really weird shows, and they were just a little too odd for the average person. Now some folks stumbled across Lane on Tech TV and just loved it and got into anime that way, but that was pretty rare. Most folks on Tech TV watched that and were like, what am I watching? Um, right, and that's the other thing is that anime is very much not a traditional American animated series. Um, Pokemon. I think one of the reasons Pokemon did so well over in America is because it is much more like a traditional American cartoon. It's the continuing episodic adventures of these characters. Nothing ever changes really. And they're in this bright, colorful world. And it's got these sort of primary colors, style to it, art style, and so it felt more like, um, Yogi Bear as an old example. But you know what I mean. Um, Pokemon fits that structure much better, and so it was a small jump to that for a lot of people. And then you go from there to Digimon, which is a little more traditional anime because you have a season and then builds to a big ending of that season, and you change every season. Um, so yeah, I mean, anime is very very different, but that's part of what makes it fun. It's one of the reasons why it's kind of it's a subculture. It remains its own little thing because it is its own little thing. It's why folks ask what's going to make anime mainstream. I'm like, anime's well known enough now that I think it's hard to make anything mainstream. Very few things ever get mainstream. How would you classify that? So Yoko, to me, The Last Airbender is a. I go a couple different directions with that. If folks wanted to define The Last Airbender as anime, I would not complain. It is definitely in the anime style. It was animated by a Korean studio that's also worked on a bunch of anime works. Um, um, you know, that's reasonable. I think more accurately, I would probably call it an animated series in the anime style. Right? It is very much inspired by anime and using many of the same tropes of anime. The reason I kind of go a little, I'm hesitant, is that the animation style, the actual motion in Last Airbender is not too anime-like because of the sheer amount of motion. The budget on Airbender was huge. There's just constant motion in Airbender. And so while there are face faults and other sort of visual imagery, like how characters run around can feel a little bit more American than anime. And just the budget is way beyond, pretty much any anime series you care to name. So that's a little different, right? Yeah. Anime is for kids or The Simpsons. Although there are some changes in there a little bit, but yeah, I agree. Well, else the problem is Disney doesn't have the rights to Ghibli anymore. G-Kids does now, so Disney can't do it, sadly. Also, I don't know that Disney has the broadcast rights. I think all they ever got were like the DVD Blu-ray rights, the disc rights. Do you think anime is getting mainstream? I think anime is mainstream. So how do you define mainstream? I define mainstream as everybody knows about it. Well, I don't necessarily define it, but if you define mainstream as everyone knows about this thing, right? It is broadly there. People wear T-shirts of the thing on the streets. Not every single person in the country consumes it, but it is a known thing. Anime is there, right? Go to an average mall and you will see somebody wearing a Naruto, One Piece shirt. In my classes at work, and these are all post-college adults, pretty much every day I see some bit of anime merchandise somewhere on someone. Right? I think anime has gotten to that point. I don't think, the average Midwestern family is going to sit down and watch the third season of Railgun together, right? So by that standard, I think anime is kind of there. But will anime ever get to that point where average people watch NCIS and then an episode of Madoka Magica? I don't think so. It's just not going to go there, right? Anime is just not. Very few things ever reach that level of everybody consumes this, and that's true of even like popular genres, right? Not everyone watches mysteries. Not everyone watches, romances. Hallmark movies. Are Hallmark movies mainstream? Right? Everyone knows they exist. Everyone's aware of them. Everybody's probably watched one or two Hallmark movies. But you're not going to run into a lot of people who watch Hallmark movies, as a hobby, right? I think that's kind of where anime is right now. And I don't see a future in which everybody in America sits down and watches Hallmark movies every night, same is true in Japan. Anime is not mainstream in Japan. The average Japanese person does not watch anime in any sort of regular way. And by the way, that's nothing against Hallmark movies. I have certainly enjoyed watching Hallmark movies in the past. They're a specific thing. You put an episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender next to an episode of Bleach, and they are very different visually. Which again is fine. It's just that's Nickelodeon was not trying to make an anime that matched anime in every facet, right? That was not their goal. Their goal was to say, let's make this animated series and let's make it like anime. Let's follow anime, but we don't need to make it exactly the same. Again, it gets blurry as to what is anime. And it gets blurry with anime. What is anime? Right? Is Cat Soup anime? Is Kaiba anime? There's a lot of weird stuff out there that is made in Japan by Japanese folks using Japanese anime studios. Done at an anime studio, done at Production IG, but still doesn't look anything like traditional anime. So, yeah, it gets weird. Right, Big Hero 6. I think it's very much Disney inspired by anime. Even in some of the motion, how they track the camera, things like that. How characters jump around, feels kind of anime. But yeah. All right, great conversation as always. We're not done. I'm gonna stream some anime. We're gonna watch some anime tonight. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop a link into the channel to SciTube, and I'm gonna start streaming some of Idol Project, an anime from the 90s. Yeah, what is anime? I don't know. I'll also be showing some opening credit sequences and such for various things. So it should be fun. And let me pull that up. And we're going to go ahead and see how this works. I'm not quite sure what the correct link is. I think it's this. Whoops. 1 second. Start here. Whoops, nope, don't do that either. 1 second. Hold on. Got some interesting issues here. There we go. Let me paste this in. All right. So give that a try, that URL. And we will see. I'm going to hang out here for a few moments to make sure folks are actually making it into the stream room. And once I do that, we will see how everything goes. And hopefully we will be able to watch some anime together. That'll be fun, right? Yeah, I know anime when I see it. I hear that. You may need to install a plugin to make it work. So that would not surprise me at all. I'm seeing Game Escape in there. Sweet. Ronoko Taku's coming in. Awesome. Okay, that will do it. Thank you all so much. Have a great time. I will see you all next week for a special Saturday stream. I have something very special planned for that. I hope you will join us. See you next week. Till then, watch more anime.